Call to order the Oxnard Airport Authority. Yes, can we all please stand? Face the flag and the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Stands one nation under God, indivisible. Thank you. Chair, would you like me to take it from this point and then we can jump off?
Go, you're on a roll. Go for it.
Thank you very much. All right, so we just did the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. For Camarillo Airport Authority, Supervisor Long has been excused. Supervisor Lopez,
Here.
Chair Tremblay, Councilmember Santangelo,
Here.
Vice Chair Bear.
Here.
Thank you. Camarillo has a quorum. And for Oxnard Airport Authority, Supervisor Long has been excused. Supervisor Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Perello,
Here.
Chair Taran,
Here.
and Vice Chair Filkins.
Here.
Oxnard has a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the agenda review. Do we have any items we need to rearrange or move around?
Chairs, we do not have any changes or adjustments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to item 4, approval of the minutes for May 8th, 2025. For folks, if we've already been able to review, are there any changes or modifications or corrections to the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, what's the pleasure of the Oxnard Authority?
I'll move approval.
We have a motion by Supervisor Lopez and a second by Councilmember Perello. And we have the vote, please. And do we have any comments on the minutes?
No public comments.
Thank you.
For the roll call, Supervisor Lopez,
Yes.
Councilmember Perello, Chair Taran,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Filkins.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously 4-0.
Let's do the Camarillo Airport Authority for approval of minutes of May 8, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
So move. I'll
Thank-
second.
Okay, the tie went to the runner. It went to the vice chair, second to member Santangelo. Madam Clerk, will you please call? Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any public comments on the minutes?
No public comments.
All right, hearing none. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Lopez,
Yes.
Chair Tremblay,
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bear.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously 4-0.
Okay, turning it back over to Chair Turan.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 5, public comment period. Airport-related comments during the public comment period, part of the meeting to address non-agenda items is limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker and may be increased or decreased by the chair depending on the number of speakers for non-agenda items. Do we have any public speakers for items not on the agenda, either in person or virtual?
There are no public comments. And Chair Taran, may I read I'm sorry, we're noticing that there is an issue with the screen.
Okay.
Well,
Is that something on the viewer's end or something on our end?
we're gonna,
Okay. And do we want to make a disclosure about public comments for the virtual folks?
yes, please, thank you. To members of the public who wish to address the authorities tonight with live public comments on any agenda item, please visit airports.venturacounty.gov/meeting-calendar for participation instruction, streaming links, meeting IDs, and passcodes. In-person speakers will be called upon first, followed by remote participants. Speakers will be called to speak after the agenda item is presented. For in-person public comment, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the secretary before the end of the public comment period. For remote participants via Zoom or telephone, please accept the prompt to be promoted to speaker and unmute your mic when it is your turn to speak. The general public comment period for non-agenda items is limited to 3 minutes per speaker unless the time allotment is increased or decreased by the chair, depending on the number of speakers. For public comments related to an agenda item, members of the public are allotted 3 minutes per speaker per listed agenda item at a single meeting, unless the time allotment is increased or decreased by the chair, depending on the number of speakers. Please use your allotted time accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point, do we have any speakers?
No speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a note for the public, that is airports.venturacounty.gov. Note the .gov domain. Thing I like best about that is it still has that .gov new smell to it, right? So. Okay, so having no public comments for items on the agenda, let's move on to the regular agenda. Item 6 and 6A, we have Camarillo and Oxnard Airport Authority. Subject, receive and file a presentation on the Wings Over Camarillo Air Show at Camarillo Airport. I will turn it over to staff for next steps on this.
Just a quick introduction. We have Bill Thomas with Wings Over Camarillo to give an overview of this year's 44th event here at Camarillo Airport.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Greetings. I have two hats tonight, so alternate member and air boss. So I'll do the air boss part. As Keith said, this is our 44th year. We could almost make it every year since 1980, but we lost a year during the first part of COVID. So key is it's the 16th and 17th of August. It was on the first slide, and if you missed it, I don't want to wait till the end to have you ask. We're anticipating some pretty good large platforms coming to this year's show. In particular, after an absence, we have the C-17 that are said that they'll be here, the C-130. Working with Point Mugu for a P3, which is being phased out by the P8, but the P3 guys are there at Mugu, and then E2C if we are lucky enough to be in between their deployments. I think we'll get them, but not sure. Also looking at least one Osprey, maybe Marine or maybe two Ospreys, which are very unusual to be able to get here. As a reminder, 501c3, we're a nonprofit. We have key supporters on the airfield. Department of Airports is our number one, CAF, EAA, and the 99s are the International Women's Organization, pilots. Our mission is to promote aviation to our youth, and secondarily to show the community the importance of aviation and the airports. And it's a chance for us to show off a little bit. In addition, because we're a 501c3, after I pay my expenses for all of the airplanes and fuel and hotel rooms and rental cars, and we put a little away for next year's air show, then we donate any of the anything after that gets donated to 501c3s that support us. We have somewhere between 300 and 400 people every year, volunteers from organizations that we support, and it takes that many people to run a 2-day air show. So we've donated 751,000 so far. Last couple of years have been a little lean. We want to preserve history. We've got veterans hangar, and those folks will be coming. We've got some excellent aerobatic pilots, including Red Bull, which is the only aerobatic helicopter that has a surface qual in the country. He lives in Oxnard and is part of our community. We draw from pretty much a 50, we figure 50 to 60 mile circle. So it takes care of Santa Barbara, Ventura primarily, some Kern County, some LA County. We usually get somewhere between 15 and 20,000. Parking has always been one of those critical areas, but Keith's helped us out this year between he and Madeline. I think that we're good this year for parking. Gates open at 9 o'clock. Flying is from 12 until 5, and then pretty much by 6 o'clock, the airport's empty. We'll have performances again, starting at 12 o'clock. We'll do a fairly extensive amount of flying. I have some that are around 50 airplanes that'll be airborne, and we'll finish up at 5 o'clock. I don't have the F-18s coming, I'm sorry. We have a very good STEM pavilion set up, and it's become pretty well renowned and recognized as being one of the better ones in the air show business. A lot of folks that are supporting us from Point Magoo and from the colleges and the robotics. And then I'll show you a special one coming. CAF will fly all of their airplanes. We'll have people from Palm Springs and Plains of Fame with other warbirds. Classic car show, and we should have a lot of good food. This year, we're honoring and the community responders. So it's not just the first responders. We sort of did the fire department for the Thomas fire, and we did the police in Ventura County Sheriff said, "What about us?" But this time, it's not only the tip of the spear we're celebrating, but the rest of the spear. So it's the county and the nonprofits and the folks that have to put people together again after the fire is out, and now you're trying to rebuild. So we're trying to, we'll have probably 6 grand marshals each day representing the various groups that helped in the recovery for the mountain fire. As I said, the STEM is going to be a key area. One of the complaints that we have on the STEM was that the adults and the parents that are escorting their kids said, "Hey, can't you put some stands outside so we can watch the air show, because the kids don't want to leave." We have some new acts and some old acts. Anna Sabrenko is a Ukrainian lady that lives in Canada that's going to be here first time. Red Bull and Tory Ward. We have MiG-17 and our ground pyrotechnics. From Santa Paula, both Judy and Sammy Mason. Dawn Patrol are from the Inland Empire. Warner Springs, the sailplane, which is first time last year for a long time, and it was very well received. And then this year, we're going to be sort of leading edge. Pivotal has got this new electronic EV airplane. And if you look at it and use your imagination, it's a quadcopter on steroids with a cockpit in the middle. And there's going to be 2 of them flying, and then in the STEM, they're going to have the third vehicle, which is a ground vehicle, but it's the same, plus virtual goggles and simulator, so that the kids will be able to play with the EV part. And then our standard fare for some of the best fighters from World War II, which we've been able to draw one of just about everything. D-Day doll is going to be dropping 3 times. One of them will be a Coastal Valley, Skydive Coastal California. They're the ones that we had to approve to be able to go into Oxnard, and they felt that they owed it to the community to come out here. So the boss and his key guy are coming out to jump the American flag. We've got the Wings of Blue, which is the Air Force jump team out of Colorado Springs. And then The third jump will be from round shoot, what they call themselves, a round shoot parachute team, which are World War II 82nd or 101st Airborne. We'll have I don't know that we'll have a MAS or a MAPS C-130. We'll take whatever they give us, but they're going to be here along with the E2 Veterans Hangar, pyro guys. You know the long story on our pyro to make sure that the animal shelter isn't overly exposed from noise, and they're happy with us. Car show, some of the probably 180 to 200 cars will be in the car show. And it's aimed again, we're trying to suck in those 8-year-old to 12-year-olds so that they have a vision that they can be a pilot or get involved in aviation. Online tickets only, again, 16, 17 August. Anybody have any questions?
Do we have any questions for Mr. Thomas?
Just a quick one. Is it online tickets only? Or can you do?
We
on tickets?
officially it's online tickets only. We'll have a way for people who get
Okay.
there and to help them with their phone to get tickets
Okay.
or a credit card reader, but we're trying to keep it as much online as we can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Much appreciated. Oh, Councilmember Perillo. Oh. Okay. Yes, thank you very much.
And there are no public comments on
Oh.
that item, Chair Theron.
Thank you. Before we move on, are there any public comments? Oh, you beat me to it. All right. Chair Tremblay, I can volley to you for subject for item B, unless you'd like to hang out till item D when we have Camarillo Airport Authority item. Sure, I'm happy to do that.
Let's do B and C.
Okay. All right. So hang with us. All right. So let's move on to item B, subject. Receive and file a monthly staff update from Communications and Engagement Manager regarding Ventura County Airports. Ms. Reggie, it's all you.
Good evening to you all. I'm Jeanette Haregi, the Communications and Engagement Manager and Public Information Officer for the Department of Airports. I've been fortunate enough to spend a good amount of time the last 2 years conducting several interviews to produce a series of stories highlighting the phenomenal work that comes out of Camarillo and Oxnard airports. It's been a project targeted at educating the community about the value of airports. And I've been especially fortunate because I've learned a lot in the process that I didn't know. And I'm eager to share with you what is now the 14th story in our series about locally based jets flying life-saving missions. A car accident on a remote highway claims the life of an otherwise healthy person who just happened to select the donor option on their driver's license renewal. An entire medical crew is now in a race against time to not only honor the patient's selfless act, but safely remove and preserve the remaining healthy organs. A separate medical team is working to check a registry of patients awaiting an organ transplant. An incredible amount of coordination ensues that leads to a match, then a call to a local charter jet operators to determine availability. From there, a team of medical professionals heads to an airport where they board a charter jet bound for another city, county, and even sometimes another state. The entire process generally happens in less than 2 hours. All the while, one family mourns a loss, another celebrates a second chance. Even if you don't know the outcome, you know you're part of a really significant event in someone's life, said Susan Jacobs, Vice President of Operations for Diamond Aviation, a charter jet company with aircraft at Camarillo Airport. Jacobs, her colleague Austin Carmichael, Director of Operations and CEO of Diamond Aviation, and their team join a select group of companies operating out of Camarillo Airport and staying connected to medical companies that facilitate what are known as med flights. Air 7, a Camarillo fixed base operator, or FBO, manages several air ambulances which can transport patients. Med flight missions for organ transport often include 2 aircraft, not always from the same operator. One aircraft will take doctors who specialize in organ removal to where the donor is, while the second aircraft delivers the organ to the recipient. Sometimes it's only a box with an organ and no medical team, said Carmichael. Other times, like with a heart, the flight includes doctors and nurses monitoring machines that keep oxygen flowing. The jet operators also have to account for hot standbys, where crews wait overnight to confirm that the recipient is in fact a match. Most operations occur in the middle of the night, said Carmichael. You can get these urgent missions done quicker when things aren't congested. It's easier to get more direct connections and shortcuts flying late at night. And with a mission this delicate, every minute counts. Diamond Aviation alone conducts about 2 to 3 med-flight missions a month. Those missions join an array of other life-saving flights made possible because of Camarillo and Oxnard airports. The mountain, ocean, and medical responses by the Ventura County Aviation Unit and the Angel flight missions by volunteer general aviation pilots are only a couple examples. Additionally, Helinet, which is based at Van Nuys Airport, often utilizes Camarillo Airport to pick up patients or refuel for missions for Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We are using the tools we have to save lives, said Carmichael. And at the end of the mission, we know we've been part of something good. And the pictures in this slide are courtesy of Diamond Aviation. Obviously, their jet, but you can go back, their jet, and then the medical transport team, the ground team, and then also the machine in the top right corner that keeps oxygen flowing. And then the next picture just happened by chance yesterday. I was lucky enough to give a tour of Camarillo Airport to the county summer intern program. A group of 15 high schoolers came out to the airport, and they were able to get on the air ambulance that Air 7 has on their ramp. So it was a really cool experience. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Reggie on that? Yes, Vice Chair Scott Baer.
Jeanette, you had mentioned that oftentimes these flights take place late at night. Would there be any way to let the folks in Old Town know when a late night flight was for a medical emergency or a transplant? Because they're rightfully so, they're so sensitive to noise issues, but in this case, I think it's justified. But to let them know the fact that it was a medical transplant or whatever, air ambulance, might help mitigate some of their concerns.
Yes, I mean, when we're able to identify it, I think that's for sure communication that can happen. I'm glad you brought that up because my, Diamond Aviation actually received a letter from us early on in my time here for a late night operation. And so learning about what these operations are for and what a majority of their operations at night are, for Diamond Aviation at least, are for that purpose. So I think that's definitely important to get that communication out.
So perhaps Diamond can let you know the next morning that they had conducted a transplant flight or a medical emergency flight, and you can get the word out to Old Town quickly to alleviate, their concerns.
Yes, I can request that of them.
That'd be great.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Councilor Perillo.
Having had a wife that was involved in this and then being able to use the transplant, you did a hell of a job making the presentation.
Thank you.
They call them harvesting teams and transplanting teams, and they don't cross, but you did a good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything additional? I'll just end by saying thank you for the presentation. I think that it's important. It's an important reminder for folks that these are incredibly important, timely services that are operating for people who are very much in need of this. I'm a long time avid blood donor. I'm also an organ donor by choice. And it just seems to me that that's one of the ultimate donations that somebody can do is to help somebody be able to continue their life after their own ends. And it's just something that I, through my own ideals and morals just was important to me. But I think for anyone up here and anyone listening, when you have a family member or a loved one or a friend who is the recipient of an organ donation or something that utilizes a service like this, you truly realize what it feels like to have your loved one continue on after someone else has not been able to. And you said it eloquently, and one family mourns while another has the continued life of someone else. So thank you for the reminder on that. We all bleed the same blood. We have different blood types, obviously, but we all bleed red blood. We all laugh when something's funny, and we all cry when something hurts. And so thank you for those reminders.
Thank you. And it's important to note that in Ventura County in particular, especially with a highway that's remote like the 126 out in Fillmore and Piru area into New Holland, that whole area, if we didn't have the resources, the rescue resources and at Camarillo and Oxnard airports, the response time to get to those scenes of car accidents or any kind of medical emergency would be much different, and the outcome would be much different.
Absolutely. Thank you. Do
Thank
we have
you.
any speakers for this item?
There are no public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, before I volley it over to Chair Tremblay, let's do subject or item C. Receive and file a staff report regarding Federal Aviation Administration grant assurances.
So chairs, you've heard over the years us talk a lot. We're talking about various issues about grant assurances. So I kind of felt it was time. We kind of just do a quick high level dive into the item of grant assurances. Over the years, you've seen our 5-year plan for capital projects for both airports. We have the tune of $80 million worth of projects spread out over for the 2 airports over the next 5 years. But the funding is much like, where does the funding come from? For us, it's the Aviation Trust Fund. And think of it kind of most people have heard about the Federal Highway Trust Fund. You buy some gas, money goes into the Federal Highway. So it's kind of the same thing for the Aviation Trust Fund. When you buy a ticket, you buy aviation fuel, not at the same level, but you see the comparisons in the billions. In 2024, Federal Highway roads was $55 billion. The airport improvement piece of the Federal Aviation Trust Fund is about $4.7 billion for infrastructure projects. We talked over the years about improving Oxnard. We've done our runways, our taxiways. We're doing the same here at Camarillo over the next few years. So that's what the money is. When the money gone too fast. When we accept a grant, with it comes strings. So in your packet, I won't go through all of them. There are 19 pages and 40 grant assurances that talk about different things. Again, we're seeking improvements, whether it's $1 or $10 million, that starts a new clock that we agree that we will keep that airport open for 20 years. And then all the other assurances that come with that. And again, I've highlighted here just a few of them. Again, I won't go through all of them, but there's things in there like, I'll go from the most recent one that was added, number 40 at the very bottom, leaded fuel. Leaded fuel in aviation they're looking to phase that out by 2030. There is an airport north of us in the Bay Area that tried to phase out leaded fuel. Well, that all of a sudden became a new grant assurances that you as an airport, if you sell leaded fuel, you must continue to do so until an alternative with no leaded avgas is produced. So again, we take a new grant, we're agreeing we can provide both like we had at Oxnard, but we have to keep that available as an option. We have to work with our communities to have compatible land uses. Again, that's not necessarily in our purview, but that's why we have land use entities around airports. Again, putting a lot of housing right next to airports isn't great compatible use. So we agree that we will work with those entities to try to do those things. You've heard us talk about noise abatement. Why can't we just tomorrow make new restrictions? We agree through grant assurances to keep airports open and accessible without undue restrictions like noise abatement specific. Now, don't fly between 10 and 6. We can't just institute rules like that because of the various grant assurances. And that one hits a few different ones. So again, land uses, operations and maintenance, preventive maintenance program. because they give us monies for these new pavements. They specifically require, we actually go out, analyze the pavement and do things like crack sealing, resurfacing to preserve those pavements. It's all part of grant assurance. So again, in the packet is the 19 pages. If you're really bored one night and want to fall asleep, you can go through all 40 of them. But that's what the ties that come each time we take a grant. Important note, also one item, when I talked about the 20 years, I've heard over the years from community members, hey, let's just pay back the money and then we'll call it even and say we're going to shut down the airport or something like that. The federal government has no interest in taking the money back. They want that airport open for 20 years as part of the national system. It's what they use to continue air traffic throughout the United States. We're part of that system. So they really don't care about the money. You've locked in for 20 years to operate that airport, and that's key to that. So it's kind of a high level. Again, we committed each time, and we restart that clock each time we take a new grant, whether it's for $1 or 20 million. It restarts that 20-year clock for each airport. Anytime we take a specific grant for anything in that AIP under grant assurances, we're committing for those for that 20-year period. So,
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freitas. Do we have questions? Councilmember Perillo.
Look, you mentioned the Northern California airport and the lead fuel and tried to do, can you explain a little bit better?
I think that's an article maybe that was shared. We had discussed previously. Santa Clara County, Reed Hillview decided they did not want to sell leaded fuel anymore. And I won't go into those reasons. That what that community wanted to do. The problem is that there is not a replacement fuel that is approved in all airplanes at this point. So it's a hardship and a safety issue for pilots when you don't have that opportunity. You now got to go to another airport, even though you're based at an airport that doesn't provide the fuel that you need for your airplane. So that's why it became such a large issue, enough for the federal government to add it to their grant assurances specifically.
Thank you. I appreciate your comment about the 20 years taking $1 to 10 million, 20 years. We should save the councilman and I, because we have residents in Oxnard that will still think we just close the unit. Thank you very much for the information. You guys supported it.
Thank you, Councilmember. And before we go to Chair Tremblay, just to add on to the leaded fuel thing, if that's okay, Chair, just a quick follow-up question. This may be a dumb question here, and so I'll happily represent it. But my first vehicle was a 71 Datsun, and I remember having to put lead substitute in it because that was better for, I think, the valve seats and some other parts of the valve train that it was made at a time when there was still leaded fuel. Does some equivalent or some type of lead substitute exist in the aviation world, or is that just snake oil, as they say in the automotive world?
So you've hit it on the head. All the engines, no, most of the engines have been designed with leaded fuel. There are alternatives out there. There's at least 2 companies that provide alternatives. The testing and verification just isn't there yet. The federal government has put a mandate of basically 2030, December of 2030, to find an alternative. And again, there are at least 2 companies out there that are producing something they believe works. There's still more testing to be done out there. So right now, those 2 fuels, you need it, what they call as an STC. Basically, it's an authorization for you to use this special fuel in your airplane. So that it's difficult to get, there's a cost usually to do that, and you've got to get that for your specific airplane to go do that. And then there's manufacturing companies that say, if you use that fuel, we won't warranty your airplane. So it's this round and round. So it will be mandated. It's the same thing that we had in car until it was mandated. Then there's a change and we move forward. So I think everybody's kind of moving towards the 2030 date to have something in line.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair Tremblay.
Keith, thanks for the presentation. 2 quick questions. One is, it's 20 years blanket across the board, every grant, correct? It's not one like where it's 20 years for one grant, 15 years for another. If it's a grant, it's 20 years?
it is 20 years. And then there's other things that I want to go into the weeds. But if it's land, it's perpetuity.
Okay,
So if they bought land, then that never ends.
okay. And is that statutory based? The
Um,
grant assurance period?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
What was the other point I was going to make?
It doesn't matter if it's $1. What I'm taking away with me is it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 million. It's going to be the same 20-year grant assurance and the covenants that go with it attached to that.
Again,
attached
what
to that assurance.
they're looking for is we're investing in that airport, again, whether it's $1, 20 million, we want that facility open and operating for that 20-year period. It's not prorated, it's none of those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any additional questions for Mr. Freitas on this item? Okay, do we have any speakers?
No public comment?
Great, thank you very much. At this point, I will turn it over to Chair Tremblay.
Good evening. Good evening, authority members. I'm Madeline Hurley with the Department of Airports. I'm the lease manager. I've got two items for you tonight and they're connected. I'll give you a little bit of background. They have to do with the fire department facilities here. If you can put the map up, please, Denise. So the fire department has a number of facilities here. The two that we're talking about tonight in yellow, they belong to the fire department headquarter lease, which is due to expire in 2033. That was a 35-year lease. And the green parcel, so there's the parking lot at the top says parcel 2, and then the FCC building, which is parcel 1. And that lease was signed, it was a 30-year lease signed in 2003. As most of you may know, the fire department moved its headquarters to Thousand Oaks earlier this year. And they are looking to terminate their lease for the headquarters property. And the CEO's office is picking up the balance of that lease and the obligations through the end of the term. So both of these agreements are contingent upon that concluding. So those circular agreements, so that CEO picks up the obligations and the fire department terminates. The first item, which is item 6D, is for the transfer or the termination of the fire department lease. And the second item, E, is for the FCC building to shed parcel 2 as part of their ongoing, they're staying with put, but they're giving up that parcel and it's going to connect to the fire headquarters lease. So the CEO is picking up both obligations on those. The difference is the parcel 2 is about $19,000 a year of rent that would be losing from that lease picked up by the CEO. And the fire department headquarter lease is about $401,000 a year. And that the fire department is leaving, the CEO's office is picking that up.
All right. Is that it?
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions from the authority on either of these items? Mr. Bear.
I'm a little bit confused. Is the CEO's office just writing the airport a check for the difference?
There's obviously internal ways that they transfer money, but yes, they would be compensating the airport through an internal transport.
That writing a check was the metaphor for
Sure.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
The almost $19,000 in parking
Mhm.
rent, that also is just going to be some sort of lump sum transfer?
Yes, so that parcel will go and connect to the new document and agreement with the MOU with the CEO's office. So they're picking up the 401,000 plus the 19,000.
Thank
But it's a really good opportunity to put that view up again, the map. Sorry. You can see that it's close to the fire department headquarters building, so it provides a good amount of parking for customers and guests and users for the building.
And do we know yet what's going to go in there?
The CEO's office has a number of programs and other departments that are currently using it now. And they are, constantly looking at different community partners as well for it. It's got a lot of interesting parts of the building. There's a large community or meeting room. There's two levels. different types of R&D type areas, and then cubicles and private offices and a large reception area. So there's a number of things that you can do in there. They don't all have to relate to each other.
Mr. Perla, do you perceive that any of the other new uses would require this organization to give the thumbs up?
All the subleases would have to be approved. So unless it's an issue that would cause a conflict, then we would probably at least introduce the idea to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Then would you prefer we take these items sequentially?
Sure.
One by one?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the authority? Are there any public comments with respect to item D?
No public comment.
All right, what's the pleasure of the authority?
I'll move the approval.
Move staff recommendation,
Yes.
right? Do I hear a second? Second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Lopez,
Yes.
Chair Tremblay,
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bear.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously 4-0.
Thank you. Let's go to item E. Are there any other questions from authority members with respect to item E? Hearing none, are there any public comments?
No public comment.
All right, what's the pleasure of the authority?
I'll move that we approve item E.
I'll second.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Lopez,
Yes.
Chair Tremblay,
Yes.
Councilmember Santangelo.
Yes.
And Vice Chair Bear.
Yes.
That motion passes unanimously 4-0.
Thank you. Should I keep on going? Director's report. Number 7.
Thank you, Chairs. I have just a few items. One is a follow-up first with Member Perello from the March meeting asking why the difference compensation for the public member only for Oxnard, not for Camarillo. And the simple answer, we ran it through county council, is this simply just wasn't captured in the bylaws when Camarillo wrote theirs. It was in Oxnard. The key is, and we've talked about this a few times, to change that would mean reopening the bylaws for Camarillo, which we know we never want to do because that puts at risk some of the noise restrictions that we have in place. So that's the difference. It just simply wasn't captured when it was crafted in the 70s, as I recall it. Well, actually 1980, I think, for Oxnard, and 70s for.
Thank you for the explanation.
Okay.
But thank you for the question.
Next item, I think I have a picture. We have, so we have a new tenant at Oxnard Airport, Axis Aviation, new fixed base operator, took over for Golden West. Part of a recent purchase they just made was basically a flying piece of history, DC-3 that they've added purchase. More will be coming on this. Jeanette, I'm sure, will become an article for the airports. There's basically a quick history. I think there was about 10,000 of these made, and there's about 100 of them flying in in the world right now. So we're happy to have this addition at the Oxnard Airport. There are aviation geeks who will come to the airport just to see this thing. So we're happy to have that addition. More to come soon. I think at the last meeting, I announced that our finance manager, Jamal, had retired. He did on, I'm not sure why I picked Friday the 13th, but he picked Friday the 13th. And we have a new finance manager, Servando Briggs. I'm happy to announce that is with us. We stole him from the harbor department. So Michael Tripp from harbor department is not very happy, but we're very happy that Servando is here
Airplanes are
with
more
us.
exciting than boats, but Finland,
That's what we said. Same thing. Yes. And there's Servando. The last item I have is the Advanced Air Mobility Test Range. We'll continue to work with the FAA. Again, this is a space. If you have a new airplane, you can't just go fly it. You need approval. So we're working with a local company that does aircraft testing to kind of develop the first one in Southern California. Most of it, as you see, is over water. So you kind of would depart the airports and head over towards water, just short of Santa Barbara. I do want to bring up a point. So it's about 300 square miles. It would be great attractant for businesses and development in Ventura County, which is why we're kind of working towards that. There would be 1 or 2 flights a day, but I did a presentation, an update for the city of Camarillo last night. And one of the council members asked this question: what about autonomous flying? I want to be clear of the difference. So these are uncrewed aircraft, which means the pilot is on the ground flying the airplane or following in another airplane flying that aircraft in front of them. Autonomous is a whole separate thing. That is a programmed in and that goes flies off by itself. We're not talking about doing any of that here in this. That's a separate kind of request. So that's not what this is. And that's in most opinions much farther down the road. Fully autonomous flying, it's sometimes interchanged. That is not something, again, they haven't figured out how cars can safely do that yet before they get to airplanes. So anyway, just an update. We're working with it. Here's kind of what it looks like. Encompasses our 2 airports and then out towards the water as a test range. So any questions and thoughts?
No public comment.
Thank you, and welcome aboard, by the way. All right, let's take 8 and 9 together, if that's okay. Unless there are any objections, can we just receive and file all items under 8 and 9? Any objection? Hearing none, we're going to go to 10, authority comments. Start with Oxnard. Any comments by, if I can, Mr. Chair? Any comments by Oxnard?
I have a little bit of a story since I fly for Lighthawk. We actually got the airplane instrumented for tracking condors for Santa Barbara Zoo. And the test flight went well. And then I actually did the first flight with a scientist looking for, I think, 5 lost condors. And one of them was dead. The area started over Hopper Canyon, which is just east of Fillmore, and then up towards Tehachapi and into Kernville. And in that process of going up over Tehachapi and Kernville, Bill will know the area. The approach control up there is Josh Approach, and they handle some of the active military operations area and stuff. And so that area was hot. So I called them up to get flight following. And just as I got through to approach, I had to, and he gave me the transponder code, I had to do an immediate right turn because we saw 3 condors in flight. And they're huge. And the scientist said in the 8 years he's been flying it, he's never seen them. So we had a very successful first mission.
Any other comments? How about for Camarillo? Any comments from any of the authority members? All right, hearing none, then we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 7:29 p.m. Thank you.